this is a core class, so you need just a few little bits and pieces for this class. So have your half dome or a rolled up towel, you need a strap, and then also have some other little bits and pieces, so like maybe a couple of folded towels or a cushion or a block if you've got one. Just have some things around to bolster you and to prop you up a little bit, because there's going to be a few moves where we're going to play around with bolstering. It's going to be one of those kind of movement where we kind of explore and we just keep playing with things, so feel free to just have a minute if you need to. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to lie down with our knees bent and our feet flat on the floor, but do have your strap nearby. So we're going to lie down and what I want you to notice is any tension through your body that's preventing you from lying down really kind of flush into the floor. So if you have a lot of tension through your neck and shoulders, it tends to make your head roll back and your chin lift to kind of get your head down onto the floor. So if you kind of feel like there's a lot of tension here, then maybe get something under your head. Similarly, if when you're lying down, your ribs are higher than your hip bones, again, it's just tension preventing you from relaxing down. So get something under your head. So I'm going to use a folded towel. I don't always use a bolster, but sometimes it's kind of nice to just try it and just work your body in a slightly different position. So if you've never bolstered, have a go, see how it feels. And immediately my ribs kind of drop down. I feel like I've got more space now through my neck and shoulders. Just for a moment, lengthen your legs out long. See how that feels. Now sometimes if we have a lot of tension through the fronts of our hips and our hip flexors are very tight, again it kind of pulls our pelvis out of alignment and then our ribs lift. And that's why if lying on your back with your legs out long for a long time starts to bother your back, it's just tension there. So again, you can have something under your head and shoulders, and that's going to help the ribs to drop down, which is going to help with this tension as well in your lower body. But we're going to have our knees bent and our feet flat here. So we're just tuning in, we're checking out how our body feels. We're going to take some deep breaths here. So whenever we're working on the core, we really need to be mindful of the position of our rib cage and our pelvis to each other. If your rib cage is forwards of your pelvis, your abdominals are pulled and they can't work. So we always need to have those ribs drawn into our body, and we're always trying to get them kind of level with our pelvis. So that's kind of the first thing. And an easy way to get that here is to use a bolster. Good. Okay. And then let's try bringing our knees in towards our chest. And then let's see if we can straighten those legs up towards the ceiling. Now you can have a little soft bend in them, but if getting your legs here is kind of really uncomfortable, if it feels really tight here, then you can pop something under your hips. Again, you could grab a cushion or a towel or something under your hips. So we're just kind of seeing how our legs feel here. We're kind of letting them be a little bit straight, a little bit bent and a little bit straight. So let's just kind of play around here a little bit, just maybe straightening and bending those legs a little bit. And like I say, if it's feeling like it's a lot of strain and you're having to work super hard to get those legs there, just pop something under your hips. We want it to be fairly comfortable, no strain. Alright, and then grab something to pop between your knees, so a block, a cushion, a towel, anything that you've got handy. And we're going to pop it between our knees, and we're going to bend those knees into that tabletop position here. Nice. And then let's just gently rock our knees side to side here. So keeping the back of your ribcage, the back of your shoulders down on the floor, but just allowing your pelvis to rock gently side to side. Doesn't need to be a big movement. You can just play around here and just see how it feels. You've got all the toys today. So just that gentle rocking, kind of waking up your abdominals. We're starting to get a little bit of movement there. We're getting a twist here. And then let's see if we can straighten those legs out a little bit. Again, they don't need to be fully straight. And can you rock gently side to side here? Keeping your rib cage, keeping your shoulder blades down. And just rock gently side to side. And we want this to be fairly relaxed, so we're trying not to create any tension, any strain. So notice if you are frowning, if you're clenching your teeth, if your shoulders are up around your ears, try and let everything else be as relaxed as possible. And then just try and straighten those legs out as much as you can. And rock. Okay, we're not going wild, we're not trying to get our legs all the way to the floor. We're just creating some movement here. And a little bit of work. Good. And then just bending your knees in for a moment there. Keep your, whatever you've got, your cushion, your block, whatever between your knees, but just bend in for a moment and just have a little rest. And then we're going to take those legs up towards the ceiling again. Whatever you've got between your knees is still between your knees. And then I want you to roll your legs in and out. So you're rolling them in, so toes are going to come closer to each other, and then rolling them out, so your heels are going to come closer towards each other. So we call this the Pez dispenser, because if you are using a block, your block kind of comes out towards your face and then away. So just have a little play with that, turning the legs in and out right from your hip joint. Again, if it's a lot of work, you can bolster, you can pop something under your hips. As we gently, gently turn in and out. And then notice, are your legs bent here? Can you try and straighten them out? Or as much as you can. Doesn't matter if they're a little bit bent, but just see if you can do it with a straight leg. Good. Alright, and then we're going to bend those knees in again. Take out whatever you were popping between your knees, and we're going to take our legs down to the floor. Bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees roll out into your cobbler stretch here. And let's just hold and take a few breaths. So if you need to rest at any time, this is a really nice position to come into, just to give yourself a little break. And you can choose to hold still in that cobbler, or you can just rock gently side to side, that's nice too. And then we're going to grab our strap. So grab your strap and double it over so that it's kind of not really long and dangling down. And bringing your knees back up towards the centre. So we're going to hold that strap above us and kind of bring it down closer towards your knees. And then we're going to lift the legs up off the floor again. We're going to have a soft knee here, so a little bend in the knee. And then can you bring your legs up to touch your shins on your strap? And then just lower them down again. So, bring the legs up, touch your shins on the strap, and then lowering them down. And we're just going to have a little play here. So we've started with our arms fairly low, to make it a little bit easier to begin with. But then we're going to play with this, so maybe try lifting the strap a little higher towards the ceiling, so that you're having to bring your legs a little bit closer to you. And see how that feels. So soft legs here, they don't need to be super straight here. We're going to a little soft knee bend. Challenging yourself again, maybe see if you can lift those arms a little higher. So maybe now your bottom's having to lift away from the floor. A little bit here. And just notice if your body is kind of using momentum to kind of fling you up. Are you kind of having to fling to get up? Are you twisting? Are you having to lower your arms? Maybe lift your head to get your strap to your shins. Just notice if there's any little compensations that your body's making here. And if you're not sure, it doesn't matter. And you feel how much your lower abdominals are having to work here to bring those legs up. Phew, it's a lot of work. Keep challenging yourself, maybe go a little higher again. Can you still reach it as you come up a little bit higher? Whew. Do you feel like your abdominals are on fire about now? Oh, let's do one more. And then let's have a little break again. So find that cobbler stretch again. Bring the soles of the feet together, let your knees roll out to the side, just release your arms. Just roll your neck and shoulders open here. And let's just hold for a few breaths. So we're going to keep playing around with our strap. and bringing our legs through. I like to work the core, but I like to kind of work it in a sneaky way. So you're so busy focusing on what your legs are doing, what your straps are doing, you don't realise how much work you're doing with your abdominals. So it's super sneaky. Okay, bringing your knees back up towards the ceiling. So we're going to take our strap up towards the ceiling, but we're going to use finger extenders. So point your first finger up towards the sky, and then you're going to press your fingers into your strap and then push your strap up towards the sky. So you've just kind of given yourself a couple of extra inches. Yeah, you see what I've done there? I've just pointed my fingers and then used the fingers to lift the strap even higher. So taking your strap up towards the ceiling again, and then we're going to bring our legs up, and just one at a time, can you bring your leg through and then take it back? So we're bringing that leg under the strap and then taking it back. And you can start low, one leg through, and then bring it back, and the other leg, and bring it back. And again, you're just playing around, finding your boundaries, so where you can get that leg through. Is it easier on one side than the other? You always have one side that's kind of better, maybe, than the other. And then watch your leg as it comes through. Does it go through straight? And is it the same on both sides? So when my left leg comes up, it kind of turns out. So instead of it coming under straight, it's kind of turning out to the side. It's worse than doing like 100 crunches, isn't it? And then just relax again there for a moment. Take the soles of your feet together again, find that cobbler stretch, release your arms, roll your shoulders open, and then just hold there for a couple of breaths. We're going to do that same movement again, but we're just going to do just one leg this time, so I keep switching the legs. So when you're ready, find your magic finger extenders again, press your strap up towards the sky, bring your legs back up, and let's just do one leg. So pick whichever one you want, and then see, is that leg trying to turn out? Can you keep that leg still? So, I mean, like, not let it turn out. So as that leg comes under, your foot stays over your knee and it's not kind of rotating. And if you need to bring that strap lower, that's fine too. When you're ready, switch and try the other side. And again, just notice, is that leg doing anything naughty? Is it turning out? You need to lower your strap. Do one more. And then this time, lower your legs down to the floor, lengthen the legs out long and reach your strap overhead. Let's take it into that torpedo stretch. Stretching from your arms all the way down your body, all the way down to your toes. Stretching out those abdominals. And then just put your strap down for a moment. We're going to come back to it in a minute. We're going to go back to the cobbler, but this time, instead of having the soles of your feet together, can you cross one ankle over the other and then let your knees roll out to the sides? And just take a few breaths here. While you're here, check in again with your alignment. So notice whether that rib cage is shifting forwards of your pelvis. Can you allow the rib cage to relax down? Let's try crossing the ankles over the other way. And just see how that feels. Again, just checking to make sure that you're maintaining that really nice alignment here. and then bringing your knees back up towards the ceiling. So grab your strap again, take it up towards the ceiling. No finger extenders this time, so just take your strap back up, and we're just going to bring our shins to it like we did before. So bending those knees in, and then just bringing both shins up to tap your strap. Okay, we want it to be not a lot of strain. We want it to kind of be as relaxed as possible. You're still working, but we don't want to create massive strain. So make sure that you aren't holding your breath. So just keep breathing. We don't want to be creating that abdominal pressure by kind of holding our breath and to lift the legs up. Okay. And then just bending your knees down again for a moment there. So we're going to kind of play around with this a little bit more, but I want us to put our pelvis in a position where it's kind of rolling downhill. So if you've got a half dome, grab your half dome. Otherwise, use your rolled up towel or your cushion, whatever you've got. And we're going to pop in underneath us. And let's have, if you're on a half dome, let's have the flat side up. So that your pelvis is on the flat side. And then you can allow your pelvis to kind of tilt towards you. And if you're just on a towel or cushion, you're letting your pelvis kind of drop towards you so that your pubic bone is higher than your hip bones. And then grab your strap. Take your strap up towards the ceiling again, and then bring those legs up. And bring your shins up so that they can touch the strap. So it should feel a little bit easier because your pelvis is kind of already rolling downhill. So find the point at which the legs are just kind of there, the strap is just kind of there, and you're fairly relaxed here. You're not having to hold yourself here. You're not creating a lot of tension in the legs to be here. It feels okay. You could kind of hang out here for half an hour. I'm not going to make you do it for quite that long, but... So now we're going to keep one leg touching the strap, and we're going to lower the other leg down towards the floor. So see if you can get those legs as straight as you can, but a little soft bend is okay. And we're going to lower one leg down towards the floor. Just take it as low as it will go without you losing this other leg on the strap. And without your pelvis tilting back the other way. And then moving slowly, we're going to bring that leg back up. And do the same on the other side. So moving slow. Keeping one leg on the strap. And the other leg is going to slowly lower. And come back up. So just go nice and slow here. We want this to be, again, just as relaxed as possible. I mean, I know there's a little bit of work there, but no strain. And if you're finding it like you are having to strain, maybe lift your hips a bit higher. So get something else under your hips, maybe get another towel or another cushion. And maybe lower your strap down a little bit so that that leg doesn't have to come in towards you quite as far. So you can always play around with all of these moves to just find where feels right for you. So as you lower that leg down, that leg is heavy and it's going to want to pull your other leg off the strap and it's going to want to tilt your pelvis in the opposite direction. So we're keeping that pelvis tilted towards us and keeping our leg on the strap. As you lower your leg down this time, we're going to hold it down. So again, just find the point at which you can maintain that pelvis tilted, you can maintain that shin touching your strap, and hold. And then how about if we add that little side-to-side waggle of that leg that's going down towards the floor? Can you gently rock that leg side to side? Now, it's really difficult to just move that leg and to not have your pelvis shifting side to side, but see what you can do. See if you can keep that leg rocking side to side, but keeping your pelvis a little bit still. Notice if that leg's kind of bending, is that knee kind of bending and the lower leg dropping to the floor? Try and keep that leg straight. Whew. And then when you're ready, slowly raise that leg back up towards the ceiling. And we're going to switch and lower the other leg this time. So again, lowering it down, finding that point at which you can hold your shin on the strap, your pelvis tilted towards you, and that other leg out long. And then let's add the little waggle here, so just a little side to side, maybe. See if you can keep your pelvis still, and maybe it's really different one side to the other. Alright, and then when you're ready, we're going to bring that leg back up, and then bend the knees in. And just take out whatever you've got under your bottom. Give your knees a little hug and let's just rock gently side to side here. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of core work. Alright, releasing your legs down to the floor. Let's go back into cobbler. Soles of the feet together. Knees roll out to the sides. We're going to give our hands a little stretch while we're here, so reaching your arms up towards the ceiling. Interlace your fingers and flip them over, pressing your palms up towards the sky. Keeping your ribs relaxed and down as you take those arms overhead towards the floor behind you, pushing into your hands, keeping those ribs drawn in. Hold here for a couple of breaths. When you're ready, bring those hands back up towards the sky, release your fingers, give your fingers a wriggle. Circling at your wrist. Reverse, go the other way. And then gently pulling each finger in turn back to stretch out your hands. So good. When you've given them a good stretch, just wriggle your fingers again and release them down. Okay. We're going to come back to the strap stuff a little bit later, but let's bring the knees back up towards each other and let's go over onto our front now. We kind of just move everything out of the way. And coming down onto your front, and we're going to have our fists just in front of our shoulders and elbows are tucked in by your sides. Pubic bone anchored, tailbone slightly tucked. And you can have your legs either together or hip width, whichever feels better for you. Now all I want you to do here is notice whether the bottom of your rib cage is pushing into the floor. Can you pull the bottom of your rib cage into your body so it's almost like you're curling your upper back. So your head's going to kind of look towards the floor. You're pulling your ribs in so there's a little bit of a curl in your upper back. Now can you press into your hands, press into your elbows, keep pulling your ribs in as you kind of roll your upper body away from the floor and just come up onto your knees. So you're just coming up into like a little plank position. And then we're going to keep those ribs drawn in and we're going to lower ourselves back down onto the floor. And we're going to play with this a little bit now. So this is really using our abdominals to kind of lift us away from the floor. So pressing again into your hands, pressing into your elbows, drawing your ribs into your body, curling that upper body. And then can you press into your arms and lift? And then lowering down. So by adding that little curl first, we're bringing the rib cage in line with the pelvis so that we can access and use our abdominals. Because if you were to come up with your rib cage pushing into the floor, you can't use your abdominals, then it all has to be shoulders, arms, neck. Not a nice, happy place to be. So let's just keep playing with that. Drawing the ribs in first, getting that little bit of a round through our upper back. And coming up into a little kneeling plank and then lowering back down. And it's kind of a coordination thing as well. So quite often, as you're starting to come up, when you're coming up into a normal plank, people will often kind of lift their upper body first and then lift the hips. And it's kind of getting everything to come up together and to lower down together. So it takes a little bit of strength, coordination, just having everything in the right place. And then just come on down for a moment, reach your arms out in front and just kind of give yourself a little waggle here, kind of moving your shoulders, rocking your body side to side, just freeing off any tension, any tightness that you have created there. we're going to do that again, and we're going to see if we can kind of hold in that position enough to be able to come onto our hands. Now, if just coming up into that first position is enough for you, then stay there, that's absolutely fine. But if you want to try and progress it a little bit, we're going to again have our fists in front of our shoulders, elbows are drawn in, pulling your ribs into your body, getting that upper rounded back first, and then coming up. Now to come up onto your hands, you might need to kind of rock to one side to get one hand down, and then kind of rock to the other side to get your second hand down. And then we're going to go back down again, so we're going to come down onto one elbow, two elbow, and then lower all the way down. Let's play with this a little bit. So if you're not happy on your knees, you can have those toes tucked and come up onto a full plank and still come up onto your hands if you're not happy being on your knees. You've kind of always got those options there for you. So you're either just doing that core lift away from the floor, or you're adding, coming onto your hands. If you're coming onto your hands, watch for that temptation to let your back kind of drop towards the floor. We want everything to be drawn in, and we've still got our ribs pulled in, we're still rounded through our upper back, and then come down. Play with this a few times, and when you're on your forearms and you're up in that plank position, if you need to do a real big twist to get your hand down, it's fine, but it just means that we're having to kind of use our arms and our shoulders more rather than our abdominals. So, what you can do, instead of having to do the big twist, is to find that little lift first and then try and keep low as you bring one hand in and then the other hand in. So you might still twist a little bit, but you're not having to do, you know, the real big twist. And it's just playing around with these movements and seeing what you need to do to get into that position. Push yourself into child's pose. So let's go up and back and find our rest position here. And then we're going to go over onto our back again with our strap. So come back down. We're going to do the same movement that we did, lowering the leg and adding the waggle, but this time we're going to try it without anything under our hips, okay? If you find that it's really a lot of work to get your legs straight up to the ceiling, then obviously do put something under your hips. But we're just having a little bit more challenge. Okay, strap up towards the ceiling, legs up towards the ceiling, tilting your pelvis towards you and bringing those shins towards the strap. And you can choose how much you want to bring those legs in, okay? So it's a little bit of work, but not like a lot of work and you're really straining, yeah? All right, and then we're going to keep one leg touching the strap, and we're going to lower the other leg down towards the floor. It might not go as far this time, and then gently bring it back up. Okay. Keeping that pelvis tilted towards you. So don't let the weight of that heavy leg as it reaches away take your pelvis with it. So we've got to use our abdominals here. To keep that pelvis tilted towards you, it's your abdominals. So if you feel like it's more your thighs and there's a lot of tension in the hip and the front of this thigh is working really hard to pull it in, then get something under your hips again. Because we don't want it to be strain, and we want to use our abdominals to get that rounding of our back. Alright, as you lower your leg down this time, let's add the waggle. So just that little gentle side to side. And then when you're ready, lift it up. Try the other side. Just a little gentle waggle. And you can lift that leg a little higher if you're struggling and it feels like it's too much strain. Lift that leg higher. Good. Alright, it back up. Bend the knees in. Lowering your strap to the floor, lowering your feet to the floor. Let's again go into cobbler and open your arms out into that T position, rolling your chest and your shoulders open. And let's just take a couple of breaths here. Okay, bringing your knees back up towards the ceiling. Press into your feet, lift your bottom off the floor and just shift your hips to your right, just a couple of inches to your right. And then straighten out your left leg on the floor. Bringing your right leg into tabletop, and then we're going to roll over, but we're not going to go all the way knee to the floor. We're going to keep our shoulder blades and the back of our ribs anchored, and we're going to start to bring this right leg over to the side. So it's just going to kind of hang wherever it can reach, and it can be soft. It doesn't have to be bent, it doesn't have to be straight. Just kind of let it be where it wants to be. But ribs, shoulder blades anchored on the floor, and leg coming across. So we're getting a twist through our waist. Might feel like quite a big stretch through your hip. And we're just going to kind of hang out here for a few breaths. So if you were to have a line on your ceiling and you were to line yourself up with that line, your nose and your belly button would be kind of in a straight line, and then just your hip would be twisting. And we're just hanging out, chilling out. Alright, bring that leg back in. And we're going to do the same on the other side, so bending both knees again. Lift your bottom and scoot your hips over to your left this time. Straighten out your right leg, bringing that left leg up, and we're going to do the same again, keeping shoulder blades and ribs anchored, and we're going to bring that leg across. So again, if we were lining ourselves up with that line on the ceiling, our nose and our belly button would be in a line, and then just that hip would be twisted. Hanging out here. And if you are a rib thruster like me, it's kind of nice to maybe have your hands on your ribs and kind of reminding those ribs to stay down. Alright, bring that leg back in through centre. Bringing both knees into your chest, give your knees a little hug, and let's again just rock gently side to side here. Grab your strap again. I'm going to take it up towards the ceiling again. And we're going to keep one foot down on the floor, and we're going to bring the other leg up, and use your finger extenders to bring one leg again through the strap and then through the other way. So through and the other way. If that other leg wants to come up, it can do, if it feels a little bit better for you than being, down on the floor. But just kind of have a little play with this. We're only going to do a few here. And then as your foot comes through the strap this time, hook it with the strap. So you've got your strap around your foot, and then bend that leg in, so pull that knee down towards you. So it's kind of like your happy baby stretch here. So we're going to pull that knee down towards us, and we're going to notice whether it's staying straight or again whether it's trying to roll out to the side. So can you keep your foot directly above your knee as you pull it in towards you? And if you want to, you can kind of straighten and bend that leg a few times if that kind of feels nice, or you can just hold it in bent. If you feel like you've not got enough space and it's pressing on your chest and you can't breathe, you can take the whole leg slightly out to the side, but keep your foot above your ankle, so again it's not the knee rolling out to the side. So whichever leg we've got hooked in the strap, we're going to keep it there. And we're going to straighten that other leg up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to start to slowly lower that leg down towards the floor. And we're going to hover that leg just off the floor. And we're going to do a little waggle here. Little waggle, waggle. Trying to keep your pelvis still-ish. Much harder now because we don't really have anything anchored on the floor to stop us from waggling the whole body side to side, but do what you can. Alright, and then let that leg that's out long just come all the way down to the floor now, if it will reach. So we've still got this other leg pulled in towards us, we've got our other leg out long. Let's just hold here for a couple of breaths. And then straighten that leg out that's in the strap. Bring your other leg up and then take that strap up towards the ceiling again. So we're going to work the other leg this time. So the leg you've just been working can again come down to rest on the floor, or it can just come up if it wants to. Use your finger extenders again to press your strap up towards the ceiling, and we're going to bring that other leg through a few times. Remember, you are in charge. You can have your strap lower if you need to, or lift it if you need to. Watching that leg, is it wanting to roll out? Can you try and keep it straight maybe? Alright, as it comes through the strap this time, hook it, grab it, pull it in towards you. And again, we're going to hold it here. If you want to, you can straighten and bend it a few times if that feels good to you. Having a little bit of movement there, you can do that. Or you can just hold it in. And again, remember, if it's crushing your chest and you feel like you can't breathe, take the whole leg out to the side. And then we're going to straighten that other leg up towards the sky. And slowly lower that leg down. And again, same thing, it's going to hover off the floor. And we're going to do our little waggle. Nice. When you're ready, let that leg go all the way down to the floor. So we've got one leg hooked in the strap, pull it in towards us, the other leg out long on the floor. And can you hold for a couple of breaths? Good job. And then when you're ready, release that leg in the strap, straighten it out long. Let's go back to cobbler again. Soles of the feet together, knees roll out to the sides, holding here for a couple of breaths. Okay, we're going to go over onto our front again. So when you're ready, come back onto your front. Shifting everything out of the way. And we're going to do the same as we did. So we're going to find that little plank and see if we can come up onto our hands again. So elbows are tucked in, fists just in front of shoulders. Pulling your ribs into your body, so we're getting that bit of a rounding through your upper back first. Press into your hands, coming up to find your plank. And then either choosing to stay there or coming onto your hands so you're in that plank position. Watch for the ribs and the hips dropping. Can you keep those ribs and those hips in? So you're either on your knees or you're on your feet, and just hold here for a couple of breaths. And then we're going to take our bottom back towards our heels to find our child's pose or our rest position now. So can you come back to find that child's pose and hold here. Okay, so we're going to have a little play around with some planks now. We want to make sure that our shoulders are in really good alignment because, again, everything has to work together. So fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other and elbow pits are forwards. Find where your shoulder blades are. Let's get those shoulder blades nice and wide so they're not squeezing together. They're not pressed as far apart as they can do. They're just kind of nice and wide in your back. And then we're going to take our legs back to find a plank. So can you tuck one toe under and the other toe under, and keep that plank position. Now if you struggle, come down onto your knees and you can plank on your knees, but if you're happy on your feet, can you maintain this neutral plank position and just bring one knee in? You're just going to bend the knee and bring it in towards you and then straighten that leg back out. Try the other side. Can you bring one knee in towards you and then straighten that leg back out? Let's do one more on each side. Bring the knee in and lengthen the leg long. Bring the knee in and lengthen the leg long. And then we're going to come out of the plank, so coming down onto your knees and coming off your wrists, and give your wrists a little twirl around. So we're going to play with the plank a little bit, and again feel free to come out of it and rest whenever you need to. We're going to do that again where we bend and bring one knee at a time in. What I want you to watch this time is that as you bring that knee in, notice whether you're rounding. You see how my bum's kind of tucking under and my spine's rounded. So you're kind of finding that neutral position and not shifting your spine at all. Okay? And we're going to do 2 on each leg. So let's have a little go with that. You can do that on your knees. And just, again, you're just not tucking under as you bring that knee through. So you can kind of play with those. Those are really nice to do. We're going to do a plank again, and it's up to you whether you want to be on your toes or your knees. And then what we're going to do this time is we're going to tilt our pelvis side to side. Our abdominals are going to stabilise us. So find your hand position, elbow pits are forwards, and then find your plank. So you're either walking your knees back for a kneeling plank, or you're tucking those toes and finding a full plank. And then we're going to twist our pelvis to drop down on one side, and then we're going to twist our pelvis to drop down on the other side. So I've got creaky mat again. Kind of rolling across your toes as you drop your pelvis side to side. Can you feel your abdominals kicking in and working? Sorry about the creaky mat noises. And then again, coming off your wrists and give your wrists a little twirl around. So I'm giving you all of my abdominal plank exercises. You can kind of play around with these and do as you like with them. So again, that one can be done on your knees, just twisting, and it also can be done on your forearms and just twisting. So all of those are really nice abdominal exercises. Let's give our wrists a little circle and circle the other way. And then give your hands a good shake. It's always good to come off and just get rid of any tension through your wrists and through your hands. So one of my little favourite transitions is to go from plank to that downward facing dog, and that's where we're going to go next. So when you're ready, I'm going to tie my hair back, finding that finger spread wide, thumbs point towards each other, elbow pits forwards first, and then find your plank. So stepping those legs back, and then you're going to pike your bottom up in the air. So pike your bottom up towards the sky, pushing into your shoulders, and let's just pedal our feet here. So you're in that downward facing dog and we're just pedaling our feet. I'm sorry about all of the creaky mat noises, I've got the wrong mat tonight. And then from here, coming forwards into your plank again. Holding in that plank position for a moment, and we're going to pike our bottom back up to find that downward facing dog again. We're going to go between those 2 points. So rolling forward to find your plank, nice stable wide shoulders. Pike your bottom up in the air to find your downward facing dog. Again, coming forwards to find your plank, and then back up to find that downward facing dog. We're going to do one more time. And as you come down into your plank this time, hold it there. Again, you can choose to come onto your knees or stay here, and we're going to circle our pelvis. Can you drop your hips towards the floor and then lift your bottom towards the sky? It doesn't need to be big. Watch the ribs, keep the ribs pulled in towards you, and we're circling around. These are tough, aren't they? Can you reverse and go the other way? Ooh. One more, and then we're going to come off our wrists. Bring the knees in, coming off your wrists. Those are fun, aren't they? Bring the backs of your hands together, get your thumbs to touch, and pull your thumbs away from the rest of your fingers. Rolling your chest and shoulders open. And lowering your hands down. Couple of deep breaths here, get your breath back. Who knew there was so much fun to be had with planks? Not me. Let your hands go. Give your fingers a wriggle. Okay, I have got maybe 2 more plank abdominal exercises. It's up to you whether you want to have a go at them or not, but let's come back to find. So this one is a little bit of a balance challenge as well, so maybe just watch it first and see how you feel. So we're going to find our plank again, and then from there we're going to find that downward facing dog. So we're going to pike our bottom up in the air, and then from here we're going to lift one hand off the floor and try and tap our opposite toe, and then we're going to bring that hand back down and drop down into our plank. Piking your bottom up to find that downward facing dog again. Other hand, tap your toe. Hand comes down, back into the plank. You don't have to add the plank. You could just do toe taps or knee taps or just lifting one hand at a time off the floor. All of that is work for your abdominals. It's kind of a bit of fun. It's a bit of a giggle. It's a bit of a balance challenge. But if at this point you're like, do you know what? I'm just done. Then you can just laugh at me doing it instead. The thing to make sure here is that you're not on a surface that's going to slide. So if you've got a slipping mat on a wooden floor, it's maybe not the best place to do that. Come on out of that and give your wrists a little shake out and a little twirl around again. All right, one more. One more. So, finding that plank again. Fingers spread wide, thumbs point towards each other, elbow pits are forwards, find your plank. And then from here, this is an easier one. You're going to bring one knee in and place your foot down on the floor, so that knee's hovering, the knee's not on the floor. Bring that second leg in, knees hovering, so you're on hands and toes, and then step back into your plank. Step one leg back, step 2 leg back. Bring one leg in, tuck the toes, knee hovers, second leg in, knees hovers. Step 1 leg back, step 2 leg back. Yay. Let's go. Step, 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 step. And if you don't like the knee hover, you can always step in and have your knee down, so you're just going onto your knees and then onto your toes. I kind of like the knee hover. It's just a little bit more fun. Fun. All right, come on off your wrists again. Give your wrists a little twirl. Give your wrists a little shake out. Okay, we're going to go over onto our back again. So when you're ready, come down onto your back. Take your arms out into that T position and bring your feet and knees together. We're going into just our normal spine twist here, so letting both knees roll gently to one side. Keeping the back of your ribs and your shoulder blades anchored on the floor. When you're ready, knees come in through centre and over to the other side. Just go at your own pace from one side to the other. And not forcing anything, so just doing what feels good to you. As your knees come in through centre this time, take your feet wide towards the edges of your mat for our windscreen wiper legs. And again, just rolling both knees gently to one side. Up through centre and over to the other side. And maybe it feels nice to let your head roll the opposite way to your knees. As you come in through centre this time, hold in there. We're going to lengthen both legs out long on the floor and reach your arms overhead. We're going to take it into our crescent stretch now. So walking your legs to your right and then walk your arms and upper body also to your right. Choosing to stay here or picking up your left leg and crossing that ankle over your right. And maybe with your right hand grabbing your left wrist and just giving it that little pull to just create even more stretch, even more length down that left side of your body. Checking in with your ribs here, making sure that you aren't arching your back and that the back of your rib cage is still anchored down on the floor. Take some deep breaths here. Again, by making sure that our rib cage is down and level with our pelvis, we're getting a true stretch through our waist and also through those abdominals. Those abdominals are able to work rather than being in that sheer position where our rib cage is lifted. When you're ready, releasing your arms first. Release your legs, walk your legs in through centre and over to your left this time. Take your arms up and overhead, and again walk your arms and upper body also to your left. You can choose to stay here or picking up that right ankle, cross it over your left. And with your left hand you can grab your right wrist and again just give it that little extra stretch. Taking some deep breaths. Checking in with your rib cage. And then when you're ready, releasing your arms, walk your legs back in through centre. Moving slowly, you're going to bend your knees one at a time. And then bring your knees into your chest. Give your knees a little hug as you just rock gently side to side. One hand on the top of each knee as you open the knees wide and circle around. Pull the knees into your chest and then circle around. Can you reverse that circle and go the other way? Nice. And then when you're ready, we're going to gently come on up to find a seated position. So come on up. Find a position that works for you. We're only going to be here for a minute, so don't worry too much about it. But just try and find some nice alignment. So pelvis, rib cage and head all nice and stacked. We're going to do some twists here. So don't use your arms, just twist your body as far as you can to the side and then let your hands come down to the floor and you can give yourself just a little bit more of a twist. Just hold for a couple of breaths. When you're ready, coming back in through centre, we're going to go to the other side. So twist your body as far as you can first and then let your hands come down. And again, you can use your hands to give you just that little bit more twist. Hold for a couple of breaths. Coming back in through centre. Just let your hands rest down wherever they sit. And let's do some gentle shoulder rolls here. Can you reverse? Go the other way. Gently turning your head side to side. Just making sure we're not holding any tightness, any tension. And we're just going to go into a couple of little side bends here. So one hand's going to come to the floor, the other arm's going to reach up to the ceiling and just take it over into just a really gentle side bend. When you're ready, switch over to the other side. And we're using this again just to release any tightness, release any tension. So it can be super smooth, it can be super flowy and just feel really nice in your body. One more to each side. Just finishing off so that you're nice and even and you are all done.